back to Route 4 TV, Omar Macy. We already covered the installation of the 98 trigger. Okay, again, just to clarify, the trigger for the MKV series is shared by 98 series, Alpha Black, Project Salve, and Carver 1. Okay, so now we're going to continue the installation, take it from what we have now to the full 98 installation. Okay, so again, we can't reiterate enough, refer to your owner's manual, anything you need to know about it, how to safely take apart your marker, make sure it has no air source attached to it, all of that's in your manual. And in some cases, for example, you might have the new ACT system. This kit is prepared for the ACT, so that's the best way to basically cover that part of it. Today we're going to show this system without the ACT, just so you know. Okay, so again, in the previous video we basically covered up until the trigger assembly, trigger grip, basically being put together. Okay, right now we're going to transfer the components from the 98 onto the MKV98 kit. Okay, so as a first step, we'll again check that all your components are in the box. You will need all the screws to put it together. Well, we basically supply all the screws to put this body together, all the body screws. Okay, you are able to use them from your donor marker, except the front hinge screw, and then there is a specific body screw that holds the trigger place and after the assembly is done. So, as a first step, we'll take this. Well, I want to call it an O-ring, but let's call it a seal, so there's not so much O about it. That basically goes on the receiver. Okay, it goes onto the right hand receiver. You will see this shape cut out on the body. I will do a, it doesn't really require close-up, but I'll put it a little bit closer to the camera for you here in just a moment. Okay, so basically what I do is just basically kind of put it on the side of the body. There's a pocket for it. There you go. You can see where it's at. Okay, so that is pretty much it. Well, first thing to be mindful of is take out the return spring, guide bar, and the butt plate. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm just taking the whole core assembly out, which is your bolt, your guide bar, power tube, striker, or hammer, whichever you choose to call it. Place it directly over the O-ring that he just put in previously. We're going to take the charging handle, put it inside, take your, the buffer O-ring here, put it all in place. Again, when you refer to your manual, you'll know that you'll need to twist this so this hole is aligned so you can put this inside. Any of you who have taken apart your markers before will already know this. So there we go. Okay, so pretty much in a nutshell, that is what you should look like. Well, basically what your kit should look at this stage. Again, you have your bolt, guide bar, power tube, striker, hammer assembly, blowback spring, the end cap or butt plate. This is also a perfect opportunity to put on an aftermarket buttstock. Again, this is required when you want to change that, so this is what you're looking at here. The ball detent on this marker basically is an external add-on, so you can take it on, put it on, you can put it on at any time. So in this case, we're not going to worry about it now. On your Tippmann, you had the ball detent here. Okay, again, this is not of concern in this kit in any case. Alright, so at this point we're going to install basically the left-hand receiver onto the body. We've made sure that we have all the components in place, trigger guard is in place, your safety. Again, we covered all that on the previous video. Okay, so all we need to do in this case now, especially with this system, if you have one of the old generation 98s, this can be basically your last step because you can just screw it onto the power tube. But here, it is very important that you put this in at this stage, or else you're going to have to take your body apart and it's no fun, pretty much. Okay, so we're done with this, done with the donor body at this point. If you were going to use the hopper option, you'd want to remove the front sight or the hopper disengagement apparatus. We're not going to do it this time because we're going to configure it as a magazine fed right now. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay. The barrel is obviously the last thing that we're going to install, but I'll set it off to the side here. So, once again, we'll take this part. If you're not familiar with this, basically this square nut goes into a shelf already pre-cut onto the receiver here. I'll kind of show you firsthand. This is what it looks like right there. So again, there's a little pre-cut shelf right there for it. Okay. I'm going to move all the screws off to the side, make it a little bit easier to work on my small table. Okay. Again, if you refer to the owner's manual, you'll see that well, I'm sure they have a great recommendation on how to align this. Here I'm just going to align it so let's back this up just a little bit. There we go. So I'm just aligning the gas line to the power tube, and at this point I'm going to hand tighten it to the point where it kind of stays in place on its own, just enough so it doesn't. At this point, basically the core is under spring pressure, so if you're not mindful of it, it'll just fly out and we'll have pieces all over the place. So basically take your left receiver, place it over the body, make sure everything all closes and aligns. Again, there's many pins and stuff that you have to be aware of here. Okay, so basically we just want to align all the pins together. We've snapped the opposite side of the receiver, so the left side receiver over the whole assembly. Well, at this point you want to basically hold it together, and at this point we're going to start putting in the screws. On your parts set here, you have basically two. This is for the main body. Okay, you have two, let's say, long screws and one screw that goes in this front location here. Okay, you want to identify that beforehand, and you have a proprietary screw that holds at the middle of the receiver. We're going to start with the front screw, so basically it's right below the front sight. Okay, again, this is very standard, similar to what you're used to on your 98. Okay, following, I'll go to the rear screw next to the rail, put on the top. Again, the order that you do this, it's really whatever is easiest for you. Okay, I'm just going to do a little preliminary tightening. Then of course you want to make sure that everything is flush afterwards. So at this point everything holds together. Okay, we're going to put in the proprietary magazine hinge screw. There you go. Put it in place. Again, when we cover the hopper function of this, we will get to the steps that you got to take of what you would have to do then. But for right now, we're putting together as a magazine kit. Okay, inside your parts, baggie or parts that are included with the kit, you have this basically screw, and so female end, male end screw that goes through the body, and what this does is holds the trigger guard in place and the whole little trigger assembly. So you want to press your trigger guard down till one side goes through. Basically just feed the opposite side of the screw, and at this point you want to tighten it. Okay, since both sides of the screw have an Allen key head, this is the opportunity where you'll need two 3.5mm Allen keys to put it together. Okay, I mean, we recommend this. It doesn't really matter so much. You can hold one side with your finger and tighten it, but it can loosen up and come out of there. So we do recommend that you have a second 3.5mm Allen key so you can tighten it both together. Okay. Make sure that everything is nice and snug. Just as in your original Tippmann, you don't need to over tighten anything. Everything can just be pretty light hand tightening. Once it stops, you don't really need to go any farther. Okay, especially the front hinge screw. Okay, this one right here is really doing one main purpose, is holding the body together, but the main purpose that it's doing is that it's holding the mag well in place. Okay, so you want to make sure not to over torque this because of the dimensions. If you over torque it, you will not strip the screw. It will actually break the area where the Allen key goes over. Best way to do this is just don't over torque it. Okay, as soon as it basically offers resistance, give it a little bit more tightening, and that's it. Okay. So basically, really the only thing to do at this point is to replace your rubber hand grip portion from the 98 and insert your ASA. Again, we had already, on the previous video, taken out the nut from the donor body, put them inside here, and at this point just reinstall them. Again, you have the long screw that goes in the back. Again, this is all pretty simple. As far as when we have the stage 2, which is internal airline, of course that will change a little bit, but we'll get into more detail when those are available. Okay. Alright, so we're just going to fast forward here a little bit, and I'll show you. Again, we're going to fast forward and put the rubber grips on this and put the barrel, and pretty much have a complete kit. Okay, so we just assembled the rubber portion of the grips. We take this off the Tippmann marker, the 98. Everything assembles very easily. Okay, so I guess the next step here now is to tighten the airline. Again, this is the Platinum series, so you actually have to tighten this outside nut. It's pressed in there. Again, this is a perfect time to refer to your manufacturer's manual as far as how much you should torque it, what they basically request of you, so you basically do this safely and you don't have an air leak. Again, basically for me, it's just a good hand tightening usually does the job. Over torquing is never the answer. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to assemble the barrel. Nothing to it. This is just threads on, put it in place. Okay, and finally, just the magwell. Magwell, as we've shown before, just hinges on the hinge screws on the magwell. I'm sorry, on the receiver. And finally, you will just put in. This is supplied in the kit. It's just a push pin, as very similar to what you would see on a basically a Tippmann A5, X7, Phenom, and so on and so on. Okay, the only thing to keep in mind here, all these kits, again, we went to the side of making sure that everything is a little bit tighter rather than having stuff being loose. So you are able to push it in by hand. Again, no significant problems there. To take it out, we do recommend you get something soft, a mallet, or even a tool. I mean, any tool I can use my Allen key to push it back out because it is a little tight. But again, you saw that I was able to put it in by hand. So this receiver set has been made so it's mil spec, and what we say it's basically the same as an AR rifle or the M4 series rifles. So the top of the Picatinny rail to the bore height, basically the center of the bore, are the same. So if you put a standard military handguard, you'll have basically a flush Picatinny rail going all the way from the back to the front. Military sights, everything, again, you'll be able to co-witness. If you have a rear flip-up sight, front flip-up sight on your handguard, and you have a red dot optic on it, you'll be able to co-witness the 3. So now the best way to release this magazine, actually because of the space that you have, you can actually reach out from the bottom here and remove the magazine, and that's pretty much it. So there you go. Thank you very much.